Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to Iyun Shulchan Aruch. Today's simon was a long simon Nun Hey, number 55. We talked about the basic thing of Dvarim Shebekdusha. We're having a minyan. Normally, when people think about minyan, they think about, going to daven with a minyan. Like you want to make sure that you daven your tefillas yachid, right? Your tefillah, it's called tefillas yachid. Your silent shmon esrei with a tzibor. You're very, very makbid about this. Even though the Gemara in Brachos says that there's no chiyuv on this, we're finding out today. I'm telling you right now, it's also not called davar shebekdusha. The Gemara says in Megillah on Daf Chav Daled, the Gemara says v'nigdashi b'soch v'nei Yisrael b'soch darim shebekdusha. You need b'soch. It means 10 Jews, 10 Jews that are doraisa men. They have to be men. Kedushas Yisrael men. Midoraisa, right? You can't not somech on a chazaka. If he's 13 years old, you have to check to see he has two shtei saros. He has to be vadai doraisa because Dvarim Shebekdusha, for example, Baruch, for example, Nesias Kapayim, Kriyas HaTorah, Porson al Hashema, say Baruch, over in the Teva, which Rashi says there means the Shliach Sibor, which is Chazaras Hashas. That's something that needs 10 people. Tefillah b'tzibor is not Dvarim Shebekdusha. It's tefillas hayachid, and it's ancient of Yudavin with a sibor, and the Gemara in Baruch says that Yoser Nishmas, Hashem hears your prayers, so to speak, more when you're davening with a tzibor. It's praiseworthy to daven with a tzibor, but it's not such a big deal if you don't daven with a tzibor. There is something else called a chovas hasibor, which I talked about more in the previous simonim, that there's an obligation on the tzibor, and it really comes very clear at the end of Siman Nun Hey, where he spells it out very clearly that the chovas hasibor is only on every city. There's a chiyuv on every city to have at least one minyan, to have a shliach sibur doing chazaras hashas, because that's the one over in the teva. Chazaras hashas is one of those things Dvarim Shebekdusha, and then there should be kedusha and kaddish in that city. And one minyan, you can be in kofa people. You can impose financial penalties on people to force them to come to that minyan. They're lazy; they don't want to come out of bed. You only have 10 people. You can force them. The Mishnah Berurah says even people that are in yeshivas, and it's a small city, they have to leave their yeshivas and go daven 9 o'clock minyan at the shtibla with the people over there, so they can have a minyan. It's better than that because we paskin mitzvahs Talmud Torah. Mitzvahs tefillah is just as important as Torah, and to make sure there's a minyan. And the words of the Ramah at the end of the simon, and almost the last word of the simon, Shalai Yisbatal Atamid. That's what he's saying. What does it mean, Shalai Yisbatal Atamid? The idea is that the Gemara in Brachos says that tefillos were niskanu for two reasons. One, tefillos keneged avos tiknu, right? Avram daven shachris, Yitzchak daven mincha, Yaakov daven marav. That is keneged tefillas yachid. There's a chiyuv on every yachid to daven, and then there's a chiyuv on the tzibor keneged karbonos tiknu. The tamid shal shachar, tamid shal ben arbayim, and evarim b'darma are burned. The fats and the leftover limbs are burned on mizbeach. It doesn't say in the Gemara that they're two separate takanas, but it comes out from this Ramah. That's what he's saying over here, that karbanos tiknum. What is this karban tamid? That was a karbanat tzibur. Everyone had to donate a machzah shekel to be part of that karbanat tzibur, the tamid. So that's your karban tzibur, and in every city, every year, this is I don't know where we get this from. It has to be in every city. Why not in one country? But in every city, there has to be 1 minyan going around that's doing Dvarim Shebekdusha. That's called a chovas hasibur. Now, if you have multiple shuls, you're not obligated to do anything. They're doing chovas hasibur. If you have a lot of minyanim in a minyan factory, so there's plenty of chovas hasibur. The chovas hasibur is being done by 1 minyan out of the 100 minyanim that are done that day. That's good enough. You don't have to do anything. And likewise, I said by Kriyas HaTorah on Shabbos, there's no chiyuv to hear the Kriyas HaTorah. There's a chiyuv that there should be a Kriyas HaTorah in the Sibur, and the chiyuv that there should be one Chazar Shashas at least every day for Shachris, Mincha, and Marav. There should be a Kaddish and Baruch. There's a chiyuv on the Sibur, not a chiyuv on you. But if it comes out that you're the only 10, there's only 10 people in the city, then it becomes on you to ensure that the Sibur has it. And the makor for that, I believe, is connected the Karban Tamid, which the Gemara in Brachos says tefillos connected Karbonos Tiknum. It's an interesting lamdus that's based on, we're assuming that both of the reasons are right in the Gemara in Brachos. One is for the tefillas hayachid, the silence one actually, and one is for the chazaras hashatz. If this is the case, so it explains a lot of halachas, right? It's called a shliach sibur. It's called a chazan, right? There's two ways we call him. We call the leader, the person davening for the Amud. He's the chazan. So the Mishnah Berurah said at the end of Siman Nun Daled, or Siman Nun Gimel, I think, the chazi, is for chazan, is from chazi, the Aramaic, to see. You see him, you watch him. It sounds like he's not being motzi you. Shliach sibur sounds like he's your shliach, is being motzi you, but we know that's not true. That when really you're yotzei in the tefillah that you daven biyachidus, or with a tzibor, you daven the silent Shema Esrei Yotze. Chazal Shas not being motzi you. Maybe he's being motzi you. Other people are not baki, but in general, he's not being motzi people. And he's not being when he says Baruch Hu, you're answering Baruch Hu. He's not being motzi you. So it's it sounds like shliach hasibor, like shluch shalom shekamo. So you send the shliach to do a mitzvah for you, so it can be yosei. You set up a moel, you make the moel a shliach, so you can make the mitzvah of milah, because the father has to do the milah. So we have to say over here that it's called dafka shliach hatzibor, not shliach hakal, right? The shliach of the tzibor, the shliach of the chovas hatzibor, right? He's your shliach to be yotzei the chovas hatzibor on the city. The city has a chiyuv of chovas hatzibor. He's your shliach to do the tzibor, but he's not the shliach of the kal. He's not being motzi you, and therefore it's very important to note that at the beginning of the siman we said that you need to have for sure doraisa 10 men who are grown men who have not only 13 years of age but also vadai have shtei saros. You check they have shtei saros. They have to be vadai men midoraisa in order to be yotzei this chiyuv daram shel kedusha, where it says in the Gemara, "V'nikdash b'soch b'nei Yisrael." B'soch is 10 people. That's a pasuk minat Torah midoraisa. Daram shel kedusha srichan asara 10 men midoraisa. There's no way to be makel over here. However, when it comes to in the Ramah in Siman Hey, the end of Sif Hey, he says that you're considered a gadol even if you're 13 years old, and we don't know if you have shtei saros. What's he talking about? So I said it's clear the Ramah is talking about where the chiyuv of davening with a tzibur, or the nice thing about davening with a tzibur, your private Shemona Esrei davening among a tzibur, right? There's no chiyuv to daven with a minyan. People think you have to daven with a minyan. No, you don't have to daven with a minyan. The Gemara Baruch says, "Ka'ara yishag" or something like that. It's like the roar of a lion, meaning you daven with a minyan. It's a stronger tefillah. You have the skos harabim. However, there's no chiyuv even with the rabbanan to daven with a minyan, and therefore, if you want to even count it as an idea, you want to make sure you're davening. You have this mila of davening with 10 people. You can rely on someone even if he's 13 years old and doesn't have shtei saros. There's even an opinion that says you could have 9 people in a katan, because again, this is talking about. I think that opinion is talking about just the idea of davening Shemona Esrei with a tzibor, which is much more makel than the idea of chobas tzibor, where there has to be 10 men, which are fully men midoraisa, and that's an important distinction to make when you're running to shul and you're trying to make a minyan. Make sure that you don't have to worry so much about being among 10 people. It's not the end of the world if you didn't make a minyan, but it is an inyan if you live in a city with very few Jews. Like, what was the name of that place in Alabama? Can't remember. Birmingham, Alabama. Is that the name, Birmingham? Anyway, wherever Lenny Solomon went to daven his Shabbos tefillos that time, when it's a city like that, that's all they have there. Then there's a minyan man. Then you have a personal obligation to be part of that chovas hasibor. There's the chovas on the city, on the seaboard, to have at least one minyan saying Shachris, Mincha, and Musaf, and Marav also. Hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.